Well, it has been quite some time since I have done this. So, here we go. Fanatec Clubsport DD. First impressions. I think I might as well start in a few seconds. I am trying to get back into this whole streaming thing. I've not done this in, as I said, a very long time. So I have no idea, first of all, whether you can actually hear me. So that is the first thing that I have to try and figure out. And secondly, if in actually hearing me, is this all working the way it's supposed to? So yes. Now I'm hoping that it is not all too loud, but it should all settle down, and I'll get straight into my first impressions of the Clubsport DD in a few seconds. So let's go ahead and let me think. What should I do? Yes, let me do this. So first off, I guess I should probably kill the replay that's giving me all the noise in the background. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Then I shall probably look at bringing up my Fanatec stuff so that you can actually see some of what I have actually done. So, okay. There is that. That is that, and that all looks perfectly fine. Okay, let's go into, I suppose, in-game. It says in-game, it's not really in-game, but there we go. Okay, so this is my first impressions for the Fanatec Clubsport DD. It is an interesting product. It really is an interesting product, in such that I wasn't going to purchase it. For starters, I had no intentions of actually purchasing this product to begin with. And it was actually the reason I decided on buying this particular product was because I had a few things that were sitting and not doing anything. So I purchased the GTDD Pro, which was the Gran Turismo partnership, which was the PlayStation offering of the CSL DD. And I purchased that. Now, despite the fact that I had a CSL DD and some pedals, and I had a nice wheel, I had two wheels actually, I still bought the set. And that meant that I had a wheel, the Gran Turismo rim, and I had a set of pedals, the CSL pedals, sitting around doing nothing. And when this product was announced, this Clubsport DD, I thought, well, what can I do with this? Is it possible for me to be able to purchase this? And turned out it was, because about 90% of what I spent on this product I recouped by selling my CSL DD GT Pro with the steering wheel and the pedals that I had never used. So that worked out for me, and so I now have the Clubsport DD wheelbase, which I'm now going to try out in Assetto Corsa, and I may try it out in Assetto Corsa Competizione at some point. So let me just go ahead and pick a track to try this out on, somewhere that I can really see. So, for example, Union Island. This could be a decent place to try it out. And I've got to pick a car for it. The Ferrari F1 car is not going to be the one. So a gentle car to start with. I think maybe the personal favourite, which is the, where is it? GT86. There we go. Always a good car to try out. Gives you a good feel as well for the wheel. It will give you a good feel for what this wheel can do, what this wheelbase can do. I am also running the QR2, of course, because it comes with QR2 as standard. So if I just go ahead and swap out or unplug one of these wheels, it's such an easy system to use. This is a really ridiculously easy system, and I am quite impressed with it. Price-wise, I will say that maybe not the cheapest price-wise going out there. I would have expected a little bit cheaper, but nonetheless, it is what it is, and I am actually struggling to put this on, which does not bode well. All I'm supposed to do is push this. Why can I not do that? It should just be a simple. There we go. That and oh, there we go. Done. That is on. Okay. So we go ahead and start a bit of a drive. So I'm going to check my settings because I know that some of these settings may have to change for the force feedback. That's the F1 one. I do not want the F1. That is the one I want. There we go. So some of these settings are probably going to have to change, but I'll have to figure that out as I'm going, effectively, because that is what first impressions are all about. So buttons all seem to be okay. So yes, it's mainly the force feedback that I'm concerned with. So also, just going to check this out. So sensitivity is fine, force feedback strength here is at 100, full force is at 50. Now, Assetto Corsa does not support full force, so this is really going to do nothing in this title. It's a new thing, and yes, I do not think Assetto Corsa will. Maybe the modders will be able to do something fancy with it, I'm not sure. But there we go, natural damper. 50%, right, let's have a look at this. So we want to, so at 100% it will have the most resistance, very hard to turn. That is not something I want with this, because this thing has a holding torque of 12 Newton meters. Now, only a few years ago, I was on a Logitech G27, and Logitech G27 had a peak force of, I think, 2.2. Then I moved on to the CSL DD and the GTDD Pro, which I've just mentioned why I sold those. And that had a peak torque of 8. This has a holding torque of 12 and a peak torque of, now this is going to be the most unscientific measurements here, of around 15-ish. It's certainly more than 12. I'm not sure how much more, but it definitely is more than 12. I would not say it's significantly more. So we're not looking at 18, 20 Newton meters of torque at peak on this thing, but it is more than the 12 Newton meters that is said as the holding torque. And you will feel it in those sudden movements. I think you will feel it, and that is what I'm going to be testing. So, full force, as I said, does not matter. Natural damper is going to be set. We're going to start at 50. I may make some adjustments to that. I'm going off what I initially had with the CSL DD. That is what I'm going off to begin with. So these are my settings at the moment. In-game, my settings are 60% gain on the wheel. Everything else is zeroed. Soft lock is on, but pretty much everything else is zeroed. Great. I'm not sure about this. I'll be honest. Low speed threshold. Let's just get rid of that. Low speed FFB strength. I'll leave that there, and we'll figure that out. So there we have it. That is some basic settings. So we'll just give it let's give it a drive and see what it's like. And I'll change between. I'll start with a slow car. I'll then do maybe a racing car, a slower racing car. Then I'll do maybe a GT car, maybe jump into a Assetto Corsa Competizione, try and do the GT3 cars there, do a F1 car here, and really get a good feel for what is available. Now, whilst I'm doing that, I am just going to pop onto the, let's see, select scene, and I'll just jump back in a moment because I just want to switch something on. And I want to make sure that it is switched on properly. It's not something that I need to show. Right. There we go. That looks good. And if I go ahead and set up the in-game once again, and set that up to... So you should be able to just about hear my chair as I do this. And there we go. Back in game we go. So we should be okay to see things. And if you have questions about this product, by the way, just ask. If you have questions, ask away. Leave comments. The chat is... I can just about read the chat. May not check it all the time, but I should be able to give you something. So let's go for some street tires. Let's go. That will do. In fact, let's go for some tires that you can... Let's feel some sliding. That is going to be quite cool. Traction control off, ABS can stay on. And there we go. Okay. So, oh yes, I have some render stats here, which is showing my GPU's working like crazy. We're not going to worry about that just yet. Here we go. Oh, and I've gone and popped something off on my my microphone, but that is okay. You should still be able to hear me without too much of an issue. So, if you cannot hear me, do please shout out and let me know. Right, what can I feel? So, at 0, I see what that 0 force feedback thing does, because this is just, I can just turn sort of with one finger. Yes, that is not, I do not particularly like that. So also, I've noticed that for some reason, it isn't steering. Of course it isn't steering. Why would it steer? Why would it work the first time the way I want it to work? Of course it isn't going to work. Let's go back to that and go back to the settings and check the axes again. And that is a working axis. I'll just go ahead and resave that. And we'll try again, shall we? Oh, I did say I wanted to get rid of that. This one. Put that back up to 100. There we go. Maybe just save that. Okay. Let's try that now. Might be better. Might not. But there we go. Only one way to find out. So we'll go ahead and do the exact same thing. I want to go on the eco tires, switch off traction control. Now that feels heavy. Okay, so that feels quite heavy. Let's have a look at what a drive around here is like. Maybe I should have just taken it to a racetrack, but we'll see. Take a quick look around. Hopefully you can hear the engine as well. And let me see what I can feel. So I'll go ahead and pop over onto this. Okay, first off, it is heavy. There is no doubt about that. Little bumps, I can feel them quite well. I think it feels smoother than it feels smoother than the CSL DD. That is for sure. It does feel smoother. Now, I'm not sure how much smoother just yet, but it is not... It is a very noticeable difference, and I'm not sure exactly what it is about it, but there is a noticeable difference. It feels so... Okay, that felt quite realistic, actually, going over that. It does... This feels heavy, though. Maybe a little too heavy for what I'm doing. So I could just drop the force feedback a little on this if I wanted to do so, and that might solve the issue. But it does feel a little bit heavy. Of course, as I said, this is based off the starting point is my old CSL DD. That is the starting point for this. So what does this feel like? It feels like... I tell you what I will do. I know what I will do. Let's start messing around with some of those settings. So which one was I going to mess around with? It wasn't the brake force. It was going to be natural damper. How do I mess around with the natural damper on this thing? Apparently I cannot through this menu. Okay. Yes, look at that. So there is enough force there that because we're on this slight slope, we've got an incline in that direction. So because of that, if I let go of the steering wheel, it starts turning the wheel. Now, how far is it going to turn it? That is the question. Because that tells me right there that is too much. Yeah, that is just... It's just a little too much. So I can hold that, and there is... It barely takes any force to hold. And honestly, turning this... Now, given how thin these tyres are, it should not be this difficult to turn it. So, let me adjust a couple of things. So let's go ahead and try and make an adjustment. So we've got that. Let's go to the control panel and let's drop off the natural damper a little, maybe to 30. So NDP is the natural damper. There we go. So let's bring that down to 30 and let's see what that... Now see, look, it's still doing this weird... So you hold it straight and you let go, and because of this slight incline, it is pulling it over, which means that the force feedback is responding in a slightly strange manner at the moment. So if I turn the wheel this way, will it start turning back? It does. So that is something I want to fix. So that is something I definitely have to look at fixing to get the most out of this wheel. So it is, as I said, it feels heavy. It does feel... Let's drive around a little bit more before I try and make this fix and see what I have, see what I get. See, that is maybe too heavy for this car, but then that could be what I need to do. I may need to have a different set of settings. Okay, coming over that hill, the crest, feeling the car, the lightness of the car, or the car's mass drop off as I lifted slightly over, and the suspension took the brunt of that, or the suspension was unloaded. That definitely was something that I felt quite strongly, which I could not feel before in the CSL DD, and certainly you would not be able to feel that in the Logitech. Oh, I did not know there were bird calls in all of this. Right, maybe I should go to a different track, but I wanted this track to start with intentionally because I can feel it gives me an opportunity to feel these various different bumps and hills. Because this is obviously a little bit of a bumpy road. Yes, it is strong. The wheel is very strong in certain places. Maybe a little bit too strong for what I want it to be. So I will have to make some adjustments now. Okay, let me go make some adjustments. Tell you what though, the feeling of ABS in this car now is fantastic. So it just feels a little bit too strong. So that is what I need to work on. This bit is okay, I suppose. So I'm going to create a setting which is going to be now at 50%, which I think should be right. And I'm going to save that as Fanatec Road slower. There, that's for slower cars. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll try that out with this car. I'll try it out with the maybe MX-5. Let's go to where would I really feel some bumps? That is what I want to try out. Oh, this one. This track should have it. So Highlands Short, I should be able to feel the cobblestones here. Right, this is a good track to test out cobblestones. Let's go for a fairly late. There we go. What's 80 at Haunt? I do not want to skin on this. We're just going for that. There we go. Let's see what we've got going forward here. Okay. It is dark. We'll go ahead and go back to the eco tires. Fuel doesn't matter. Traction control can go off. And let me try this. Let's try running this. So cobblestones. We should be able to feel this really, really nicely. Let's find out, shall we? Smooth. Oh, that's an excellent feeling of cobblestones. That is extremely realistic. Where am I supposed to be going? I do not know. Where does this track go? Does it go here? No, it does not. It should not. Where does this track go exactly? Okay. I think it goes this way. Yes, it goes this way, and then we turn in here. That is where we're supposed to go. Okay. Let's do that. Apparently there are people floating up there. We're going to ignore the floating people. Still heavy. Still very heavy. Now maybe I just need to drop the force feedback of this particular car. See, look, that was at 120%. Why? I do not know. There we go. Let's try and do that. 20% less on the force feedback. How does that feel? Much better. That is so much better now. I do not want to clip that curve, but this is really nice. This cobblestone, the feeling of these cobblestones is pretty much bang on now. And I think that is what I'm trying to get. So obviously, I've got to a point where I'm able to make some realistic... Yes, I'm able to maybe realistically recreate, or recreate as realistically as I can, the feeling of driving on actual roads. And that is what I'm trying to do here. That ambulance looks like it has crashed. So the idea of me going around this track is exactly for that. That is the one and only reason. Oh, I can go around this a lot faster than I think. There we go. In we go. Scotland welcomes you. Yes, this cobblestone feel is bang on. The weight of this is still maybe just a little bit much for a car like this, but again, I'm going to fine-tune this. But the fact that I'm driving over cobblestones and able to really feel them properly without it, I think the biggest thing here is the dynamic range that we have in a wheelbase like this. So if you are sort of using, let's say, a Logitech G27 or a Thrustmaster T300 or anything like that, you'd be limited to quite a little window of where all of your force feedback, all of the feeling, everything that's being translated to you is only has, let's say, 2 Newton meters, 3 Newton meters of torque to communicate. But with this, with the 12, 15 Newton meters, whatever it is, because there is so much available, it gives you a feeling, a much better feeling. Let's hit this on intentionally. I can feel myself going up on that curb and then coming back down. And it is really quite something. What about this one? Oh, yep, you definitely feel those. I thought you could climb that curb, to be honest. What about sliding? You feel the slide too. You definitely feel the slide. So let's try and yeah, I'm not able to turn the car around quite all too easily here. It's again, it is quite, this is very heavy, so it is not easy to turn. It actually feels very much like an Audi with wide wheels. That is what that feels like, an older Audi with wide wheels. I would not expect this car to feel particularly this heavy. It just does not. It does not match. But again, I'm sort of able to throw the car in and catch it just that little bit better. I also feel like the response of this... Now, the response of the CSL DD, pretty good. The Logitech G27, compared to these, is, again, it is a night and day thing. But it is more so the fact that I can feel what that response is doing. That is the interesting bit. So I know that this car is... I know that I'm able to, just that little bit faster, I'm able to respond. Also, I'm getting a little bit annoyed with the pedals. The vibration on that is kind of annoying. Wheel lock, fine. That is fine. There we go. And the rest of this is fine. There we go. That is... Do I want that? No. There we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and pick a faster car, shall we? Let's go into a bit more of a racing style. So we've got those what are those little cup cars? I just saw one. There it is. Good old cup cars. And where should we race it? Let's race them around Brands Hatch, shall we? There we go. Brands Hatch. Let's do a crazy time multiplier just so that's going to be what that is, 1 hour a minute. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that just for the sake of it, just to see how this is going to feel and just enjoy a bit of driving. So we'll go ahead and do Brands Hatch with that. We won't do a race. I'll just do a practice. I'm not really too fussed. As you can see, I have not driven this car since I had my G27, which means I have not driven this car in 3-4 years. Quite some time. And for this, I'm going to use the standard Fanatec Road one. I think that should be the better option here. Just my opinion. So that should be the option I want. And we'll find out if it works for me or not. Okay. I better start quickly because, of course, the time of day and everything will be moving very, very quickly. So here we go. This should be a really good car to understand the driving and the way this Clubsport DD driving physics are. So here we go. Don't mind the sunlight. Interesting. With this car, the feeling is very different. I felt that little notch, but I felt that. I was going to say I'm not able to really feel too much in the way of feedback, but suddenly it's all there. It is all there. And I am going to, of course, go to a Formula 1 car at some point soon. But I just want to, as I said, get a feel for driving various different cars and seeing what this force feedback's like. So I can feel it sort of loading up more in these heavier corners, and something that the CSL DD perhaps could not do. So that's 8 Newton meters. What 8 Newton meters perhaps could not do was give you that loading in higher speed corners. So it was perfectly alright in all of this because there isn't too much of a difference really. But as you start loading up through these corners, that is where you start feeling the grip, the bite, and that force feedback. And that is where I think this 12 Newton meters, or as I said, it is definitely more than 12 Newton meters. That is just the holding torque. But yeah, that I think is where this really comes into its own. And as I said, the other thing that I had found, or the other thing that I'm finding, is that it does have a noticeable response. So when they were talking about an improved response rate or some crazy response rate, I think it is there. Now, I'm not going to say that this is going to be better than a Moser or the Logitech the Logitech, whatever the Logitech DD1 is, because obviously I have not driven those or driven with those, so I cannot really compare. What I can say is that if you were comparing this to an equivalent 12 Newton meter or close to 12 Newton meter of torque wheelbase, you may be looking at the wrong wheelbase to be comparing it to. You probably need to look up towards the 15 Newton meter range for this particular wheelbase. And then, of course, if you go ahead and get the Pro one, that has 15 Newton meters of holding torque, and I think that is probably closer to 20 Newton meters on the peak. This is definitely not 20 Newton meters, as I mentioned at the start. This is definitely not that, but it does feel like when I have felt the peak, it feels like it is maybe 15, 16 Newton meters, somewhere around that. So yes, and with this, it is kind of quite reasonable to drive. It feels very realistic. I think this is just about the sweet spot for this car. In a set, of course, how I've set it up. This is the sweet spot. Oh, I'm not sure what I hit there. I think I felt a slight bump, and then the car just went round on me. I think I was on the inside of the curb, and I felt that bump. That was quite cool. So I felt the bump, and then the car immediately went round. But yes, as I was saying, the thing that I am finding here is the responsiveness of this wheel, and how quickly I feel the force feedback effects is superior to the CSL DD. And I was not expecting that. I was expecting it to be fairly similar, to be honest, because I thought, well, you know, the CSL DD was quite good. In fact, I say quite good, it was very good. But this is better, and again, that is not talking about strength. I'm just talking about the way this just seems to handle, the way the wheel is, the responsiveness of the wheel, the way I can drive. It feels a bit more natural. Even though the CSL DD felt great, there were times where maybe it didn't feel quite as natural, whereas this does feel natural. And part of that could just be, you know, because it is a new wheel and I'm trying to get used to it and see what it's like. Or it could be because it now has a similar weighting to my real wheel, to my real car. Now I'm feeling similar weighting, similar effect, similar road feel, which before maybe was not quite there. And I think that is the big thing that I have to take away from this. Now, if you have a CSL DD, because I think that would be the only reasonable one you'd be looking to upgrade from, unless maybe if you have a Moser R9, R6, is it R5 or R6? I can't remember, and the R9s. Maybe I would not say that this is something you have to upgrade from an R9 or from a CSL DD or GTDD Pro. Remember, if you have the GTDD Pro and you want the PlayStation compatibility, you are going to be paying near €1,000 for this. I'm honestly, unless you really, really, really want the PlayStation compatibility, maybe not worth it for that particular one. If you're just going for the extra 3 Newton meters of holding force, I do not think it's worth it. But if you are somebody who's going to, you know, really play a lot of PlayStation titles, maybe like Formula 1 or Gran Turismo or something like that, then yes, perhaps it is a worthy upgrade, but not if you are not going to make the absolute most use of it. Similarly, as I mentioned at the start, the only reason I upgraded to this is because I had a wheel that I was not using. So the GTDD Pro had the Gran Turismo wheel that I was not using. I had some CSL pedals that I was not using, and I had the base. Now, I sold all of that and recouped 90% of what I spent on this. So for me, that is a win. But that is only because I was able to sell it for that sort of a price. Otherwise, I would not have upgraded. I really do not think I would have upgraded. I would have been sitting with my GTDD Pro and said, that is fine. The other thing is, I found that I'm not really playing Gran Turismo. And when I do play Gran Turismo 7, I do not plug in my wheel. It does not seem worth it. So I thought, well, if I go ahead and buy a non-PlayStation compatible one, I still have Assetto Corsa. I have Assetto Corsa Competizione, I have R Factor 2, I might get WRC at some point, so I'll find it on sale or something. I have, what else? So I have BeamNG Drive, I have Euro Truck Simulator 2, I have Dirt Rally 2.0, I have all of these titles on computer, and I have one title that I play on the PlayStation. Not worth the extra $200 for me. And excuse me, I do have to cough. It's always good when you can just shove your microphone out of the way. I could have muted it, but I couldn't reach the mute button in time, so never mind. So yes, that is why I've swapped to this Clubsport. So I do not recommend it if you've got a CSL DD, if you've got something like that, a Moza R9, that sort of product. You do not have to upgrade, unless of course you find that the torque of that is just not enough. But I think that it would be close to enough. I really do think it would be. And again, if you are using this for PlayStation, or you're using your current direct drive wheel for PlayStation, be aware that it's not going to be something you want to maybe upgrade from. So yes, right. Let's just pause this for now. What's this? I upgraded from the CSL DD to the DD Plus because... Sorry, I'm going to have to make that bigger. Because it was a bit weak for you personally. Yeah, that's fine. You were getting a lot of clipping. I think... Okay, so the thing with clipping is that... Obviously, you do, if you're going to be running, so for example, I'll show you my Assetto Corsa settings. You'll see that, not that one. If we just go to Fanatec Road, there we go. I've got the gain set to 60%. And then in my Fanatec control panel, I have it set up to 100%. And that is giving me, at the moment, it's giving me the most realistic drive, at least for road cars. It's giving me a fairly realistic drive, and I'm not going to be clipping. And similarly, with my CSL DD, or I had the GTDD Pro, but I had the boost kit, so it looks like you had the boost kit as well with 8 Newton meters. And I think what you've been feeling is that every time, so the CSL, sorry, not the CSL, the DD1, so that was the podium one, right? So the DD1 is capable of hitting 8 Newton meters and being nowhere near its peak. Its peak is, what, near 20? Somewhere around that range? 18 to 20 Newton meters was its peak. and it had holding torque around probably 15 Newton meters. So because it's nowhere near the peak, you're obviously able to hit 8 Newton meters and not get any clipping and then jump above it all the time. So yeah, exactly, you want headroom. So for me, what I've done is I've not gone for the DD Plus because I think I do not need that much headroom. I'm not going to be running things at higher than 15, 20. But definitely, if you think that you needed a stronger base, I think that is definitely a good idea. In fact, speaking of stronger bases and running at a stronger setting, let's give an F1 car a go, shall we? I need to pick a track for the F1 car, though. I need to pick a track for the F1 car. This is going to be interesting. One thing that I do like, though, is the Quick Release 2. QR2 is amazing. It is one of the best systems, or Zandvoort, I think, with high G-forces. Oh, do I have Zandvoort? I should have Zandvoort, right? Not Belgium. Well done. Netherlands. I have many versions of Zandvoort. Right. Ooh, oh dear. Why? I have 3 versions of Zandvoort, and I have no idea which one I want to run. Let me go and grab my other wheel. And let's get a feel for this. So, again, QR2. That would be perhaps another reason to upgrade. If you can find the QR2 wheel side for cheap, then you buy this. You don't have to upgrade anything else. I'm trying to put this on upside down. No, I'm trying to put it on the right way. There we go. It's so easy to put on. The QR2 is something that I think Fanatec should have done many years ago. And I understand that they took a while to do it, but they should have done that many years ago. I actually do not know. Let's try this one. I'm going to try that version. And as I said, we're going for a Formula 1 car, so we're really going to push this now. I'm going to get to feel the top forces. And for the Formula 1 car, currently, so we'll go to Fanatec F1. It's set at 70%. So I've set that at 70%. And of course, this is at 100%. That should prevent clipping. But yes, got a lot of new things sold. CSL pedals, McLaren V2, got the CSL. Ah, nice. So I still have the McLaren wheel. I have the Fanatec Clubsport wheel. I have the V3 pedals. I never ever used the CSL Elite pedals. As I said, I sold my pedals brand new. So let's give this a go. Also, get rid of that time multiplier because that will be bad. And let's have, I don't know, some broken clouds, sure. And that should now be in F1 mode. So I'm now going to get to feel this pretty much at maximum power that I can run it at least in Assetto Corsa. Now I know Assetto Corsa Competizione has a more subtle way of doing it. Euro Truck Simulator 2, I'm going to have to change it all out. R Factor 2 is going to be different. So each one of those, I'm going to have to make some sort of a change. Let's go on soft, drop the fuel. And I want to get a good feel for this, so I'm going to, I think traction control, the higher the traction control in this car, the lower the traction control actually is. So there we go. Ah, excellent. Well, if you're able to go profit and upgrade, there's really, you cannot go wrong. Okay, here we go. Right. Yes, I know I'm not looking in the right spot. I will be in a few seconds. There we go. Is that about in the middle? This isn't the middle, is it? It's slightly off. Why am I off the middle? Hello? There we go. That is better. Okay. So, let's start kicking some power in. Okay. Immediately, that feels heavy. That does not feel light at all. This feels like it's going to be a tough run. And I'm no gym freak, I'm no weightlifter, bodybuilder or anything like that. I feel like those mirrors are slightly not where they should be. Okay, that does not matter. Okay, here we go. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Oh dear, oh dear. What have I got myself into? I'm going to be fairly slow to start with, as I try to get used to this. If this is too loud, let me know right now so I can change it. Okay, this is going to be something. This is going to be a workout. I'm so glad the track is smoothish. I can feel, the one thing that I will say is I can feel every tiny bump in a way that I've been unable to feel before. So, because of this extra range, the tiniest of bumps are now, there's a differentiation between those bumps and the slightly bigger bumps. And that is really cool. So just let me know if this is too loud, please. And I'll pop that down as soon as I can, as soon as I see a response. It should be okay, but you never know. Okay, that is something. Okay, that was definitely something. Into turn one. Turn one is okay. Not too bad. Great feeling on the bumps. I'm not familiar with I should point out I'm not very familiar with Zandvoort's track. I should really point that out. It'll take me a few laps to get used to it. I think the last time I drove this was 3 years ago. So... Oh, but this... I say get used to that. I think it's going to be... I think my arms are going to give out before I've gotten used to or got used to the track. Do not say gotten. I'm not American. Yep, I think my arms will give out first. Okay. So... Yeah, the QR2 wheel side is just... It is really good. It took me about... So, for me to swap out the 2 wheels that I have, it took about 25 minutes to do it. So, it really... It was quite a painless process. Okay. G-force. Yes, I know it tells me consider reducing force feedback gain, but I think that is the only place I'm going to hit it at maximum. And to be honest, that was quite an interesting... Alright, so this one is tighter than I think. You do not really feel it too much there. And then you really feel it load up through this. Yes, oh, that's absolutely pinned. Right, okay. Why is that pinned? So again, something I've got to figure out, because that just maxed out. So here we go, trying to figure that one out. That's at 100. Let's drop that to 90 and see what that does. So maybe there is still a bit of pinning on this, which of course if you get the if you get the DD Plus, you will not have that pinning. Might try this. There is another track that I know that this would be insane at. Maggots and Beckett's through Silverstone. Maggots and Beckett's through Silverstone will be something else. And that massive sweeping corner through Mugello, that is going to be quite insane too. The lightness, feeling the lightness as you, again, as the suspension unloads is really cool. Right, let's see how this functions through this now. Yeah, that's about where you want it to be. That's pretty much at maximum for this car. So you do not want much more than that, or any more than that really. That hurt. It's still pinned here though. Well, it's not quite pinned now, so I think I am okay. See, now that I'm driving this F1 car with this force, I want to know, my question here would be, would that extra 3 Newton meters have been worth it? I don't think so. Personally, I do not think it would have been worth the extra 3 Newton meters and the price for it, simply because of the whole PlayStation thing. Unless, you know, you've got the money and you really want that overhead. I'm kind of okay with this because I think that I would end up more often than not hurting myself. So I want to be able to experience this without, I suppose, hurting myself. Is it raining? Oh no, it's raining. I did not set rain. Why is it raining? Why do I have spots of rain on my... Oh, please do not rain. So I'm keeping an eye there. It pins there, and then that is about it. So I think that is actually okay. I do not remember setting it to rain. I'm sure I just said get broken clouds. Oh dear. Okay, well, we're going to have a slightly wet surface. That is okay. I'll deal with it. Now, I think that I could do 20 or 30 laps like this with this force. Beyond that, I think it's going to really hurt. See, it tells me there, consider reducing force feedback gain, but I think I am where I want to be. I think I am pretty much where I need to be. Oh, I'm going to crash. Saved it. Lost the back of the car. Okay, so losing the back of the car, you definitely feel that. And I will say that in a way, this has actually made me slower. Not because it's harder to, or my driving's changed. It's because there's so much more force. I'm having to work with the force and adapt to it and adjust to that force. And this rain is not helping. But the fact that I can feel every tiny little bump is quite nice. It really is. That is a good feeling. Even the fact that as I come off the banking, I feel the sort of G-force change and the car want to pitch in another direction, and I can actually respond to that on my wheel and respond to that feeling. So again, this is the one place where it does sort of, no, it's okay, it's fine. I think I have it where it needs to be. No, I cannot do much else with it. And I'm sure I could make it artificially feel heavier if I wanted to. Locked up my rear wheels, felt that through the wheel, so that is impressive. I suppose one question people are going to ask is whether this is worth the price. Now, if you are coming up from a lower end wheel, because this is, oh dear. If you're coming up from a lower end wheel, then I suppose so. But if you already have a mid-range wheel, then for the majority of you, unless you are having issues like clipping, you feel like it is too little, then you might want to upgrade. But otherwise, this is pretty much what you want. But I'd leave it otherwise. If you have an 8-9 Newton meter wheel, consider it. Consider it if you feel like there's too little, but it's not sort of a must-have thing. So, for example, when Fanatec announced the Clubsport DD, not Clubsport DD, sorry, CSL DD. When they announced the CSL DD, I think it was an April's Fool joke. They announced it, and I happened to be looking for actually a new wheelbase at the time. I was looking at, I wonder what I could get for a wheelbase, and I was looking at the Clubsport 2.5, because I'd heard a lot of good things about Fanatec. But you know what? That will do quite nicely. It has a reasonable amount of torque, and I went for it, and I was going to go for it, and it appeared to be out of stock. I thought, okay, that's out of stock. And then yes, exactly, the DD.5. And then this April's Fool joke came out, and it said the DD 0.5, and I thought, I wonder what that is. I didn't know about direct drive wheels. I'd heard about direct drive wheels, but I always knew them as really expensive. Do not go anywhere near unless you have a very expensive rig. £1,000, £1,000, £2,000 just for the base. And that was it. And you needed a really expensive rig, and you needed to have lots of space and an emergency stop button and all of that kind of stuff. And then they announced the CSL 0.5 as an April's Fool thing. And obviously it wasn't an April's Fool joke. That was a must-have, must-buy if you wanted to get anything upgraded. That was sort of a, yes, this is a game changer. And it did. It brought in a lot of changes to the industry. Logitech, for example, went for direct drive. I never thought they would. I think Thrustmaster have gone for it. Then you had places like companies like Moser and Acertech. So they all started chipping in. And now we have this really, really good culture of a wide variety of wheelbases at all sorts of ranges, all sorts of prices, all sorts of ranges. But Fanatec started this, and I think that is really, really cool. That was a must-have. This, I cannot say this is an absolute 100% must-have. It is great. Like, for example, that transition there through the chicane, I felt my wheels scrub just slightly as I turned, so, oh dear. that hurt. I felt my wheels scrub as I turned first to the right and then to the left. As I turned left, I felt my wheels scrub, and I felt that through the wheelbase. I felt that scrubbing sensation through the wheelbase, coupled with it getting lighter. Just ever so slightly, not a massive amount, but that was enough to tell me that I had lost traction on the front wheels and I was understeering. And that is really cool. But I can also feel that in a lower wheelbase. It's just not as pronounced, not as well defined. So maybe that is what this gives over the CSL DD, over a Moza R9, over anything like that. I think maybe it just gives you that definition. And if you're looking for a PlayStation, if you're looking for the PlayStation compatibility one, you have True Force with Logitech. I need to cough again. I have a really, really bad itchy throat. I'm just going to pull into the pits here. Oh, Mr. Pits. I am terrible at trying to get to that mute button. Whoa, I did not want to open all of that up. What? Go away. Yeah, so Moza R9, things like that. It still has the feeling, but this just has that greater definition, the greater range. It just feels more, I don't want to say in tune to reality, because the other one feels realistic too. By the way, that was a really, really poor drive. Maybe we should go to a track that I actually know a little bit better. Give this a go. Both of them are tuned to reality, whether it's Moza, Atatec, Logitech. All the direct drive wheels are literally that, direct drive. There's no gears, there's no cogs, none of that to worry about or to be concerned about, and none of that to actually interfere and reduce the fidelity, reduce the detail, the definition, or even in cases the torque, because you will lose that torque. This is just shaft, wheel, you. That is it. But as I said, this wheel, this Clubsport DD, because of the higher torque figures, it feels more, I'd say, on par. So if you think the CSL DD and all of them are compressed a little, the Moza R5 or R6, whatever it is, and the R9, they're all compressed a bit. This feels as though it is not compressed. And that, I think, is the biggest difference. And the other thing, as I said, is for some reason, and I cannot put my finger on it, for some reason, this has a better, it just has this response, this responsiveness, this reactiveness that is better than the other wheel, than the CSL. That is something I can categorically say. But I cannot tell you exactly what it is. That is the only thing. Now, I've done loads of laps at Silverstone, so this is a bumpy track. So I should be able to feel a lot of bumps here. It has lots of bumps. It has a high-speed section, so we should have G-forces. Oh yeah, this is very different. It's bumpy. I can feel every bump. This is something that I could not feel with the CSL DD. The other thing is that you sort of have to relearn. Oh, Magnuson Beckett's flat. No. Okay, so I'm having to relearn how much force to put to turn the wheel. That is something else that I've noticed. So I'm used to putting in X amount of force to turn a wheel, and I know that turning with this force is going to give me this sort of response on my wheel, and it's going to be turning this far through. I'm now having to increase that force by maybe 30%? 30-40% more, if not even higher, just to be able to get this wheel turning. So for example here, I know how to take this flat, but that is way more force than I've had to put in before. That is way more force, and I do see a bit of clipping there as well. So it seems that, at least with this one, at 100%... Oh, why is my throttle not at full? That is something I'm going to have to check out. So it seems that when you are flat out, it does get to a point of clipping. That is interesting to know. So see, nothing there, because I wasn't flat out. But let's say Magnus Beckett's, where I really should be flat out. Yeah, it does have it does clip. It isn't really noticeable though, because it's for such a short period of time. You're talking about it clips for half a second maybe. And because it's for such a short period of time, it's not really noticeable. If that was clipping through all of Maggots and Beckett's, then yes, that would be a problem. Let's find out here. And again, I can just reduce the force feedback a little bit more. So that it's not really. It's just at the border of clipping. So it's just hitting the red, just about. Ooh, I've missed that. Well done. Just mess up Village and the loop. But I will say that it is something that gives your arms a heck of a workout. And your shoulders, your upper body, really. And that is probably a good thing, really. If you want a realistic experience, then this is up there. This is definitely up there, especially through this section. Like you can probably hear me struggling with my voice as I'm shoving it left and right. In the other cars, not a problem. In this car, problem. Wrong gear. Yeah, this is a good purchase. It's a very good purchase. I never used to do this with head tracking. Doing it with head tracking is different. Yeah, see, I'm sort of having to relearn, and it is an interesting thing, because it is like relearning. It's like buying a new car. You buy a new car and it feels completely different you still know 30 miles per hour is 30 miles per hour, and, you know, it still has 4 wheels, unless you're buying something like a Reliant Robin or something along those lines. Still has 4 wheels, still has an engine, still has a steering wheel, still has pedals, but it's like you have to relearn how the car drives. You have to relearn what it feels like, and that is what I'm having to do here. It's going back to relearning what it feels like to drive these sorts of vehicles. At 1:34.67, that's appalling. I should be doing, 1 minute 31s, 1 minute 30s with this car by now. But I'm having to mess up completely. I'm having to relearn and focus on my steering more than trying to hit the correct apexes. Which is really cool. I will say it is really, really cool that I'm having to do that. Like, it is impressive. But I do think, for me anyway, this is enough. This is definitely enough for me. And I think that is probably a time where I should start looking at wrapping up this first impressions. Of course, there's much more testing that I need to do with this, but I think wrapping up my first impressions video, ooh, that hurts. Going over the curbs really hurts. So what am I on? 1 minute 33.65. That is not great. Let's really try to try not to think about the wheel so much, and just try and think about the lines, think about the driving. Let the force of the wheel just be something else now. No, I just cannot. After doing, 6 laps in this car on this track and the few laps that I did at Zandvoort, that I can feel my arms starting to complain and say, what are you trying to put me through without any practice? Without any build-up? Oh, that was horrible. Oh. So, going into maggots, I clipped the curb, and I did not have the strength. I did not actually have the strength to turn the wheel and correct that snap. And I think that is where you really feel that little bit at the top. And that felt painful. When I say painful, I'm not saying that this is hurting me. Does this have a chance of breaking my hand? Probably. I'm not going to be stupid about it. This does have the risk of snapping a hand, but again, you do not have to. The other thing is, you do not have to run it where I'm running it. You could run it a bit lower. That would be fine. You have that overhead then, which is what you really want. I think having that little bit of an overhead is very, very useful. I'm not sure why I stayed in 4th for that. That was just really bad. That was pretty good. You could carry more speed through that out. Bad through Beckett's and Chapel. Okay, I should probably stop driving Formula 1 cars. I might just give the McLaren GT3 car a go. I think I have a Fanatec GT set up, so I'll maybe pop to that, check what that one is like, and then, yeah, that hurts. That massive sausage curb hurts. Wonder if that is what it's like in real life. Perhaps, perhaps not. Understeer. You can feel the understeer as well. That is another really good thing, actually, is feeling that understeer. You are so hyped. I think you are going to enjoy it. What I recommend, though, pick your CSL DD settings to start with. Literally pick those and work from there. I think that is going to be a good option, and try not to, I think, overdo it. That is a really important thing, is try not to overdo. Like, I think here, I'll be completely honest with you, having never done this before, I think I am overdoing it, and I'm actually stopping. Having never done this before, I am overdoing it. I'm very much overdoing it, and it's probably dangerous to be doing that. Also, I want to make this a little bit smaller. There we go. Replay. I'm just going to save the replay because sometimes it's worth it. I'll go back later and see if there's any photos to take. But let me try one more. 32.9. See, that is terrible. In fact, there you go. That tells you 129.757 is what I have done on this track in the past. I just could not do it with this because of the strength of this wheel. To try and hit the lines exactly and hold the bumps and all these forces, it's like, it's not an overload, but it is an incredible amount of forces coming your way that I am not used to. If you have used a DD wheel, a DD1, DD2 before, you'll be used to that. But this, yeah, I am not used to. This is double what I'm used to. And only a few years ago, this would be 6 times more than what I was used to from just a few years ago. Right, I said I was going to use a GT car to... said I was going to test a GT car, so let's pick a McLaren. 650S GT3, number 23, that is mine. Let's pick Spa. No, let's pick the Nordschleifer. Why not? Endurance Cup. No, Endurance. Endurance Cup, Endurance. What's the difference? Let's just do Endurance. Let's pick the Nordschleifer. We'll have a good feel for this. Plus, I'm actually going to do the whole time multiplier on this because I want to see it. I want to drive through the dock. A few clouds. That will do. Fanatec GT. Right, I need to check the settings on Fanatec GT. 60% should be okay. I'll bring this up to 70. We'll try it. Again, as I said, it's important to try. That seems to okay. That seems okay. That seems okay. Lights. That's something I've not done. Headlights, button 12. What's button 12 on this thing? Does anybody know? No. That's button 5, button 6. Brake balance is that. Right. I have no idea what button 12 is. So I need to figure it out. There we go, let's find out. That's button 3. 1, 4, 2, 25. That's handbrake. That is not what I'm after. 12. Just after 12. Which one's... That's... No, that is not what I'm after. What's that one? Not giving me anything. Why do I have so many wheels? What is going on here? That's 26. No. 34. No. Do I need a handbrake? 33, 31. That's ABS. That's 32, 34 is something. That's traction control. Button 12. Headlights. Flash headlights, headlights. Okay. Okay. Well, and then that is 26. What does 26 do? Anyone have a use for a 26, please? Any use for a 26? No use for a 26. Okay. In that case, 26 is you. There you go. Job done. I'll save that. Let's give that a go. Shall we? Fanatec GT. And to end today's stream, and my first stream in years, I have no idea when I last streamed. Oh no, I streamed last year, didn't I? That is how long it has been. Oh yes, I streamed last year. Should we just go for soft tyres? Let's get the most grip, the most feeling on this. Why not? Right, so headlights is that one. Beams do not work. I do not understand why the beams do not work. I always thought you could have beams on this. Apparently not. Okay. Time to drive a GT car. Now this is probably going to be the most realistic experience that I get. Oh, actually, it feels a bit heavy. Is that what a GT car is supposed to feel like? I have no idea. That feels a little heavy. I've still got to sort out my maximum throttle. Yes, that does feel just a smidge heavy. Interesting. But it is quite something. Every tiny little bump is replicated. Still have no idea why my throttle's not at max. It does. I will say that going on the I've just noticed the gravel seems wet. Sorry, I'm being distracted by like wet patches as if it has just rained here. Oh dear. This is a very good feeling. But it does make driving this a little difficult. I suppose that is also... it's clipping. Why is that clipping? Hang on. Hang on, that's clipping. I do not like that. Is that 122? It is. No wonder it was feeling kind of strange. Well, I wonder why all of these were at 120. Why did I do that? Why would I do that? That is better. A much smoother experience. Now that feels more realistic. One other thing that this Clubsport DD does do, or I suppose any direct drive wheel of this caliber, they sort of do make you feel very cautious and anxious when getting near curbs. That is something else they do, which is, I suppose, a good thing. This 60 times time is going to look great. About to see a sunrise, about to see get blinded, we'll go through the day. I'm not sure why I'm looking in my mirrors. There is no other traffic there is no other traffic to speak of. I guess I can get distracted by that hot air balloon. Oh. Yes, okay, so climbing up through Foxhole, it's quite interesting. Powerful over the curbs. It doesn't feel that the interesting thing is it doesn't feel as violent as the F1 car, which is good. It should not. This does not feel as violent. But what I will say is that you're sort of clonking over curbs, and as I said, this does make you a little bit more anxious to do such a thing. Like you do worry that, oh, I'm going to hit that curb, am I going to spin out? Which obviously before with my CSL DD I was like, okay, I'm going to hit that curb, I might spin out, but I might be able to recover it. Not in this. This is a lot more. Oh, see, I hit that. Like, am I going to completely mess up there? Oh, and now I'm getting blinded. Thank you, sunlight. I might do more. I think I should probably do a bit more in the way of streaming. I sort of now have the right equipment for it, so maybe I should do that. Ooh. Now coming up this hill, it feels very smooth, easy, so it still has that. I think this car, obviously better suspension or less stiffer suspension than an F1 car, so you're not feeling the bumps quite as much, but one of the things that I am feeling is sort of the road surface. I am definitely feeling the road surface, and that is quite cool. Which is something that I think in the CSL DD that might have been the one of the things that was definitely missing. Was that ultimate feel of road surface. You could feel it, but it would get sort of, it would be very faint. You'd have to make it very faint, or you'd have to exaggerate it a little. So it would be more like compressing the two. Okay, the carousel is violent. The carousel is very violent. That is new. This cough is really getting to me. Yep, I lost the car. Lost the car, hit the car. This is why you don't cough whilst in the car. This is why you don't drive when you have a cough. That's not what I meant to do. That's not what I meant to do. Oh, actually, that could have been useful. Maybe I should have had rain. Ooh, rain physics. What is this going to be like in the rain? Am I going to feel the sliding? Am I going to... That could be an interesting one to try. Now I'll have to try that out at another time. Yeah, that is a lot harder to... See, that is now a lot harder to control. Just because when it snaps on you, it snaps harder. Which is fine. That is what it should be. So when I slide around, so I guess I could just do it intentionally here. I'm going to try not to hurt myself. Say I go through this corner really quickly and it gives out like that. That is a much, much harder thing to catch. But that is sort of what I expect. I expect that to be harder. So that is cool. And in time, I suppose the thing is, in time I will get used to that. And that is one of the things about picking up a new wheelbase. You have to... Dirty hot tyres. Hot tyres. You have to get used to it. I need to pay attention to my rear tyres because they are hot. Yeah, everything, I can just feel the car sliding at the back. Okay, it's starting to cool down. They're starting to cool down. Right, so I've done a lap. I can do another lap. But essentially what I will do is... So down this straight, what can I feel? Well, all the bumps, of course. That's all coming through the wheel. Some of them are more violent than others. Going through here, it's quite similar to the CSL DD. Here it isn't. That was way, way more violent. So that is something that is something I need to get used to. What I'm now going to do is, as I said, I want to check rain physics. Throwing this car around is probably not the best of ideas. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to switch on rain. It doesn't really matter. And I'm going to link these like that. And we'll just have a... Should we have a... In fact, why am I doing that? No, don't do that. Just change the weather. How do I do that? I know there's a way to do that. Not pure config. Is it pure config? No, it isn't. How do I just change the weather? There it is, pure planner. Right. Just give me actual... Just change it for me right now. Give me light rain. There we go. We're now going to drive in light rain for a little bit. Let's give this a good drive. And stall. No, it's fine. Let's see what this pans out like. Okay, and immediately this feels completely different on this. Okay. In this sort of style, this feels more... Is it more floaty? It just... You can feel the wet line. That is impressive. I'm trying to see if I can feel more understeer. If that sloshing around, can I feel? Yes, I can. So the puddles appear to be... I can feel the puddles just a little in the wheel. Not as much as real life, I will say that. You know, going through these in real life, it's a completely different experience. But I think that might be more to do with the Cesar Corsa rather than the force feedback and the Clubsport DD. I think that is, you know, a Cesar Corsa not able to give you all of that feedback. But otherwise, this is quite good overall. So, in summary, I suppose because I am ending up the stream, in summary, what do I think from my first impressions of this, and why did I buy this? So, why did I buy it? Because I managed to recoup the majority of the cost by selling my old kit because I wasn't using part of it. So there was no point in me keeping bits that I wasn't using. Sold this as a kit, the GT DD Pro kit, and that was that. So that is why I upgraded to this. Why did I not get the PlayStation 1? Because I do not find myself using the GT DD Pro too much on PlayStation. So it turned out that was not worth it for me, and I have plenty of titles to use on PC. That saves me quite a significant amount of money, and for 3 Newton meters, which could be the difference that you want. It may very well be that difference, but for me, it was not worth the €200 to get the extra bit. So that is why I have done that. That's why I've bought this version as opposed to the PlayStation version. Saves me €200. What do I think in comparison to the CSL DD? This is not really a night and day difference. It is definitely an upgrade, a significant upgrade at that. I think it feels like near double. So yes, remember the CSL DD, even with the boost kits, the 8 Newton meters is peak. This is 12 Newton meters holding, and I think it feels more like, and again, do not quote me here, this feels more like I'm about to crash. That's what it feels like. Ow, ow, and many ows. This feels more like 15-ish Newton meters of torque. It feels like almost double what the peak of the CSL DD could give. So that is what I think this is. Is it significant enough to say upgrade if you have a CSL DD or anything around that range? Now, if you have 5 Newton meters, a 5 Newton meter wheelbase, this would be a very, very good upgrade for you, or something similar to this. It doesn't have to be this, but something to a similar standard. So maybe like the Moza R16, for example. I'm not going to say the Logitech direct drive wheel, because the Logitech direct drive wheel is 11 Newton meters peak. So, I mean, whilst that will still be an upgrade, maybe not quite the upgrade, but it's very dark. It's very dark, and I cannot figure out how to use my full beams anymore. So, yes, that is what I think. If you have the 8 Newton meters, or 9 Newton meters, or even the 11, maybe not. Maybe it isn't worth the upgrade, unless you feel like you are not getting the most out of a wheel like that, or out of your wheels, because everything is clipping, and you feel like you can put way more strength into one of these, and you can handle it. Then yes, it is worth looking at an upgrade. Certainly is, but be aware that your used CSL DD or any similar-ish sort of wheelbase may not sell at the price you're expecting it to now, with this being released, because there are probably going to be a significant number of people who are selling their wheelbases to buy a Clubsport DD. So just be aware of that. If you can get good value for it, then I think this is definitely worth an upgrade. But just make sure you can get good value, and more importantly, make sure that you are going to be able to make use of the wheel. So if, for example, you find yourself nearly at your limit with the 8 Newton meters, do not get this, do not buy this wheelbase, because it is going to be a waste of money for you. But if you find yourself at the 8 Newton meters and absolutely fine, and you know, clipping slightly, and you think, no, I need more, then yes, then you can go up to this. The other sort of person that might want to buy this, if you want to try and increase your, I want to say immersion realism, but it isn't quite that. It's more like, if you want to increase your correlation to real life, then a higher base, a higher torque figure on a wheelbase would be something you want to do. So this might be something to consider, but then you've got other options as well, the Moza R16, the R21. I think the podium DDs are sort of not, so the DD1, DD2, I think they are going to be replaced. I will be honest. I think they are going to replace them with 25 or 20 Newton meters holding torque, and probably 25 Newton meters holding torque. I think they are going to be making new ones in the next couple of years. So maybe I would not say to go for them if you're going with Fanatec. With Moza, there's the, I think, R21. That's quite good. I'm not sure about the Acertec. There's also an R16, which I think would be comparable to what I have here, this Clubsport DD. So I would potentially look at that if you want to upgrade. But again, if you are at 8 Newton meters and you find yourself feeling okay at it and thinking, no, it's, you know, this is good. I'm enjoying my racing. It's a good amount of power for me. It's not too much. Then I wouldn't just sell up and upgrade. It will be, in my opinion anyway, I think it will be a waste of money to just sell up and say, yeah, let's upgrade. That was interesting. That emissive sort of was all the way down the road. Very strange. Oh look, the castle's lit up. Did not know that was lit up. So yes, that is my advice for this particular thing. The QR2, which I have not spoken about too much, is excellent. It absolutely is excellent. The thing about the QR2 though is that it is expensive. I do think that it is expensive for what it is. Which is a bit annoying. It really is a bit annoying. I was quite disappointed to see that the QR2 would cost that much. But I wouldn't go for the top end if you're going to do that, and you go for the wheel side stuff. No point going for the pro thing or whatever it's called. Just don't. I cannot even see the road here. Just do not go for that. Instead, just stick with the mid-range one, or perhaps even the light. But I would say the mid-range one, which is still expensive, but I think it will do everything that you need to do. I have it. It is easy to install. It is easy to use. So yes, I think it is worth getting, but the price is a little high, in my opinion. So yes, that is what I think of that. But I think with that, it probably brings me quite nicely to the end of this stream. I think I've summarized everything that I've talked about, or wanted to talk about, and have been talking about. If anybody does have questions, please do let me know. I can always look at answering the questions afterwards, or in a follow-up video, or if I make a review of the Clubsport, I can always look at answering questions there. So hopefully everything I've covered though should answer the questions that people may have about this. It is a very, very solid wheelbase though. I've been driving with it for now nearly... Oh, I'm about to crash badly. I didn't know that... Oh, that has hurt. That was painful. One thing that I will say is that not much of a risk of snapping your hands. I was a little bit concerned about not having a kill switch with the amount of power that this is giving, but no, it is absolutely fine. It really, really is fine. So I'm not really fussed about that. But with that, I am going to end this stream. Thank you very much for watching. For everybody who has tuned in at any point, hopefully if you enjoyed the video or enjoyed the stream, you have been clicking on the like button. If you want to subscribe to the channel, obviously going forward I will be using this wheelbase. May do a few Assetto Corsa videos. I want to do a little bit of BeamNG Drive. Euro Truck Simulator 2 will be having this. Assetto Corsa Competizione if I do any of that, and of course Assetto Corsa 2 when it comes out sometime, hopefully next year. So that will definitely be using this Clubsport wheel as well. The use over the 2 hours has actually been absolutely fine. No drop off whatsoever, and it does not feel hotter than, well, I think it's slightly warm, but it feels about as warm as the room that I am in. So there we go. If you can do so, please do consider supporting me on Patreon, link in the description box below, as are links to my social media and my Discord. At least I hope those are in the description box. If not, they will be somewhere on my channel. That is all from me, and I think I'm going to go rest my arms now, because this was quite something.